super stoked that you're here and just with us instantly and, you know, in our family now. And one thing that I wanted to kind of dive deeper into and talk more about is, fun fact, I mean, we grew up around the same community, and I have seen you kind of spread your brand around like wildfire. And I'm curious to know, you know, when you started in the real estate industry, what made you think, you know, this is really working for me and my personal brand is really growing? And how did you know that you had something there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel like when I first got into real estate, I was coming from the fitness industry. So the fitness industry, I feel like, was ahead of real estate because they had like YouTube channels. They were like making workout videos, and I just kind of would judge things based off like what worked. So like you could go in the gym and like post a photo of you holding dumbbells and be like, sign up for my fitness program, right?
Yeah.
Or you could hire a videographer, have them edit a super vibey 25-second like hype workout video, and it gets a ton of comments, people share it, and I'm like, okay, this versus this is working way better. So when I got into real estate, I was like, how can I take some of these things that I was already doing for fitness and implement them in real estate? Like Google My Business was big. Like I had to Google My Business for my fitness business. So people typed in personal trainer near me, I'd show up. So I'm like, okay, well, instead of me selling training, I'm selling like title and business. So why don't I create one of these and get reviews? And then all of a sudden now people are calling me on the phone. Hey, I found you on Google. Like, we're selling our house. Can we work with you? And I'm like, okay, this is working. And so then it was like, why don't I help real estate agents do some of these things? And you just kind of see what works. You're like, it's like if something works, you want to repeat it.
Yeah.
So you get business and you get clients, and there's always people who are like, oh my gosh, dude, like you're talking to the camera or you're doing this, that, or the other. And I'm like, you're not paying my mortgage every month.
I love that.
Are you going to pay for my Cancun trip with my wife and my family coming up? No. And this actually does work for me. And there's always going to be like naysayers and people who are hating, and you just got to be like, you know what? I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
And there's only one of me. There's only one Megan. There's only one Josh.
Yeah.
You've got the DNA and the chromosomes that only you possess. So be you to the best of you. And when you find out who you are and you're able to just put that out on social media, people feel like the authenticity and they want to work with people like that. It just makes you a magnet for just people coming to you.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how, I mean, especially when anybody is entering any industry and they may be new and they may have a lot of fear, it's really cool to hear that, you know, even if you're, you know, fear-based or not, you know, there's always something new to try and something new to implement, and to just not be fearful and to just go for it.
Go for it. Yeah,
So
lean
fun.
into those fears. Like, because on the other side is the thing that you most need to do. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, what are some tools or best practices that you have like in your back pocket that you feel have been a game changer for you in your business and your personal life and just productivity overall?
Yeah, I feel like you and I talked when I was originally onboarding, and I even was talking with Cha-Cha, like our virtual assistant, and and I never even thought of this, and you both had kind of said it, like, oh, it's kind of interesting with your business, you're not necessarily like going and directly asking for a sale or a deal, you're actually just messaging a person something nice or to get to know them or something like that. And I've always kind of tried to like operate like that. We're all people. We all have the same basic needs. We want to feel seen and appreciated and cared for. And like, dude, business is business. Like whatever to me, like on that, I care more about the person. Like I don't even care if we're getting your business. I still want to be praying for you and hope like you're having a good day, because everyone's got something that they've got going on in their lives, or a family member. And like, I just remember one night feeling like, oh man, my day was so crazy. And then at the end of our Bible study, we're with a bunch of other couples, and we're like, oh, can we do prayer requests? And every person gave something, and it was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, dude, people are hurting, or they have some crazy stuff going on, and it's like, I'm so focused on myself, like, wow, how can I start living my life just to be looking for ways just to be more of a blessing to others and not be so focused on myself or what I could get from somebody else. And like,
Yeah.
People feel that. I get emotional because it's like, I remember hearing this story, and it was a guy in San Francisco, and he wrote a suicide letter. And he's like, I'm going to go and kill myself, and I'm going to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. And if one person smiles at me, I won't do it.
Yeah.
And he walked the whole bridge, and nobody did it. And I'm like, man, I could be that smile. I could be that person.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm emotional today.
Yeah.
Wow. It's good. It's good.
No, I love it. It's why we're all here, and it's life. And I mean, it puts such a greater perspective and meaning behind what we're all doing, because we're all doing, I mean, it's crazy. I'm on these onboarding sessions with our clients every single day, and, just speaking to our clients, and the number one thing I consistently hear everybody talk about when we talk about what we love or what drives us or what motivates us, it's our family.
Yeah.
It's our family. That's everything.
It is.
And it can sound cliche, and you hear it over and over, and you can almost guess what someone's going to talk about, what means the most to you, my family, my kids. But when you feel that and you have that in your life and you're going through a challenge, you don't realize the weight of how much it means to you until something happens or you hear of something happening to somebody else. So, I mean, if it's what drives all of us and motivates us, then leaning into that is so important.
It is, and I was actually at a recent real estate event. I love that you mentioned family, because I think that's a priority for like everybody. Maybe you have kids, you don't have kids, you have a spouse. That is so important to you. And the main guy, he's like a multimillionaire. He's putting on the event, and he goes, guys, I'm just gonna tell you, I think I've been lying to all of you. And we're all like, what? And he's like, originally when I set out to do this, I said I was doing it for my family. Like, give them a better living. And he's like, I realize I'm not doing this for my family. I'm doing this for myself. Like, I'm making good money, and this is actually pulling me away from my family. I'm so busy, and I have so many commitments and so much things to do now that I'm actually spending less time with my family. It's really made me, am I doing this for my family, or am I doing this for myself?
Yeah.
And I think especially in Orange County, this is something we got to talk about, is this like workaholic
Hustle
and like, we need to grind, we need to do this for our family. Do you though?
Yeah.
Like, we can still work hard, provide a good living, but be at the games, be present with our kids. And like, I think that is a part of like what I love about your guys' business here with helping out with the virtual assistants is I think if people come in with the right mindset, like, how can I use this to get more time with my family? Don't come in this like, how can I use this to get more business or sales?
Yeah, no, wrong mindset.
Come with like, how can I have this take more off my plate so that I can be around my family more? Then I feel like everybody could really use an assistant
100%.
or someone to help them out with a couple tasks a week. And then also think about, they're helping you get more time with your family.
Oh, yeah.
But you're also so helping the assistant with financial funds, like even just understanding Cha-Cha and her medical bills and what she's using the money for. It's like, wow, if I didn't hire her and pay her monthly, like, how else would she be paying for some of these things? So there's people out there who also need you to be, so everybody's kind of winning in this scenario in business. And that's why I'm so excited to sit here and share these great stories with you guys, because I feel like it would help so many people.
It really would. And I like that you mentioned that this is a big conversation that we need to have in Orange County, because I do and have seen so often just children being raised in these environments where their parents aren't here, they're gone on business 24/7, they're doing this, doing that, and it's a very real thing I have a 5-year-old, and there's nothing I want more than for him to grow up here and enjoy his childhood and feel loved and supported and seen, and like he grew up in a good environment, but that's not common. And it is definitely a conversation that needs to be had, because if we want to give our children the best upbringing and set a good example for them, we have to start at the root of what we're doing. So it's really, really cool to hear that.
Yeah, I love it.
I want you to debunk a myth for me. If there's one myth that you can debunk when it comes to hiring offshore talent, delegating tasks and responsibilities, just outsourcing in general, what is the one myth you would debunk and why?
Okay, this is a really good question. So there is something, and I don't know if it's like ego or pride, but I remember like at our company, there's other people and they have like multiple assistants, and you see like their business, and I always go, yeah, but they have all these people who are working for them, and I'm doing it all on my own, and like if I have, and it's like, dude, don't be a fool. Like they have assistance and people because they need it, and it helps them to keep growing up higher and higher. So really, like, look at yourself and be like, don't be proud of doing everything all on your own.
Yeah.
You should be like, okay, I've been in this for a certain amount of time, I'm doing well, I need help, and it's okay to bring in help. And then I think like the second part of that is, if you train and invest your assistant and invest time into them, into training them, they will learn how to respond and be like you. Because that was my biggest fear, is like, I have a certain standard, are they going to meet that? Are they going to talk to people the way that I would? Or people going to be like, dude, did you send me this? Like, you know, but if you sit and you take time and you train that person,
Yeah.
in the long run, now I don't have to train our assistant as much. In the beginning I did, but now she totally understands because I took the time to invest in her, learn her learning style, and show her like how I want things to be done. So now that they're kind of being done. So I feel like that's kind of debunked, like, don't let your ego get in the way, like, oh, I can do it all on my own. How's that working out for you? Because it was leaving me pretty dang stressed.
Yeah, I love that. And I think when clients come to me and they say, I don't know how to effectively do this, I go, all right, well, and if they don't have children, then I kind of explain this to them in a way that I've learned and understood through my 5 years of being a parent. But it's like, I ask them, do you have children? How have you raised your children, right? So as your child has grown up, did you take the time to, you know, sit with them and help them learn and understand right versus wrong, and how to, you know, be a good person, and what's the golden rule, and how do you ride a bike, and all of these things. You have to take extra time when they're young to do this, because as they grow up, the self-efficiency and success and growth, and they thrive because you took the time to teach them. And I like to explain that to people. And you know, you do need a team. It takes a village. And whether it's your personal life, your work life, anything, your relationship, your team, your coach, anything, it's a village. It takes a village, and you can't do it all on your own. And you don't get as far doing it on your own. You're not going to get as far. You're going to go further when you have a team and you work together, and teamwork is everything.
It is. It's so cool to like what you're doing with your son too, because we watched that really great. It was on Hulu. It's called The Parent Test.
Ooh,
and
I haven't seen it.
They put all these kids in these different scenarios, like a stranger danger, or like they're at a park, and it's obviously a safe environment. But they see, how do these kids? Are the parents doing a good enough job of teaching their kids? Hey, don't answer the door when I'm not home. Different things like that. And one of the psychologists was saying is like, your kids should almost have you as like their subconscious. They should hear their mom Megan saying, oh, mom said not to, if a stranger talks to me at the park, don't go with them. Even if they have puppies or cute kittens, I don't go with them. And they should hear that in their voice. And it's like, that's super cool that you're like doing that with your son, because as they get older and you're not there, you are almost there, because they hear you, and all the times you've drilled it. You know, no, we don't do it. We don't, you know. Yeah,
and I think that extends to leadership and businesses. I think at the end of the day, it's very apparent when a team, whatever they're doing, marketing department, customer success, it all starts with leadership and moves its way down. And you can really see, I mean, I've seen companies that we have partnered with and our clients where I've seen a very toxic leadership and work culture, and I've seen a very healthy and positive and just growth-minded work culture. And, you know, it really does stem from the top of leadership. And it bleeds into everything that the company does. So
it does. I feel like the last thing I was going to mention too that I feel like would really help like a lot of your other people is like the one thing at a time method. So whether you have like 15 tasks that you want to give to an assistant, or you can't even come up with like one. You're like, what would I even use an assistant for? Just find one thing that is like kind of a pain point for you. Train your assistant on them for 1 week, 2 weeks until they fully understand it so well that they can just do that. Then when they're ready to graduate, give them the second task, because I can only speak from my experience, and this has worked out super well, but literally with Cha-Cha, she did one thing for 2 weeks, and that was HubSpot. She became a pro of it. I literally would just be like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to watch you on a share screen Zoom, and I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah.
And I'll pipe in, oh, no, probably shouldn't have done that, or whatever. But that one thing, because now she's super good at it. And then we onboarded her to task number 2 and 3. And now she doesn't have any questions about all those other things, you know. But now she's able to do a lot more. So just like the one thing at a time really helps.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I like being able to then check in, like our 30-day, 60-day check-ins are coming up, right? And I'm going to ask you about this. Like, how have we effectively, you know, worked on everything that we originally hired for, and what can we look forward to coming up? And it's so often that clients, on the contrary, even if they don't know what to hire for and they have so many things, we call it the kitchen sink. They come with the kitchen sink and they have all these tasks. They are marketing and bookkeeping and all these things, and we're like, hang on, just let's keep it simple, let's get centered a little bit, and let's just focus on one thing at a time, because the other things will follow. But if we flood you with everything all at once, how can we track and measure the success of all of these initiatives if we're not focusing on one thing at a time?
Yeah, and I think too that will help people with their own business to actually kind of clean up their process and systems as well, because they're doing one thing at a time themselves, and they're like, oh, I could maybe be doing this being, they're actually auditing their own business. So even just through hiring an assistant, it's going to benefit you anyways, because you're going to clean up your systems and process, because the best way to learn what you're doing is have to teach it to somebody else.
Yeah, learn by doing.